What do you have to say about it? Thrill of it all.
Initially, I liked the lyrics.
I like the lyrics too. Yeah, a few lines were pretty striking for me.
Inclination of direction, walk the turn and twisted riff. With the children of creation, futuristic dreams we sift. Clutching violently, we whisper with a liquefying cry. Any deadly final answers that are surely doomed to die. Won't you help me, Mr. Jesus? Won't you tell me if you can? When you see this world we live in, do you still believe in man? Very powerful lines in there.
I like the line.
If my
right
songs
after that.
become my freedom and my freedom turns to gold, then I'll ask the final question, if the answer could be sold. Very powerful lines, in the first verse or two of this song only. But then, I don't know, it just
went
fell
anywhere.
apart. I feel it fell apart.
Yeah.
He had a burst of inspiration, the songwriter, principal songwriter, and then it just fell apart, I felt.
Writer's
But,
block.
yeah, pretty good either ways. It was it had a good start. I've heard a couple of songs with similar starts.
Right.
I don't remember if this is a start I'm actually trying to hum or what. Anyway, it's like a ringtone actually. Anyway, so I like this verse, won't you help me, Mr. Jesus?
I like that too. That was the
very powerful lines.
best thing in the song.
It's like a quote that you can put up,
Yeah.
If my songs become my freedom and my freedom turns to gold, then I'll ask the final question if the answer could be sold.
I love
Very
that.
powerful set of lines, but then it just fell apart.
Oh my God, everywhere.
There was a bit of music in there and then it just fell apart. Well, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Possibly something to do with their personal life at that time. Their life in the media, their life with their fans. Something to do with that, and then they wanted to do something brilliant to talk about it. But I guess for me, listening to it in 2025, it doesn't make sense the direction it took after that.
Right.
Well, that's my story and I'm sticking to it, like it literally.
There was no crime done
What
before
happened?
that.
Who wrote that initial verse?
I don't know.
Were you drunk when you wrote it? Did someone else write it for you? I mean, it seems like it just fell apart after that.
It had no absolute connection with what happened later. It literally as if two people came in and two different people put things together, because one is absolutely disconnected from the other unless somebody has the mind to it and has the connection to it. At least I don't see it.
This is what happens with rock bands and metal bands so many times. When you have 4 or 5 people giving their input and also management and also the record label, etc. This is what happens. This is a classic example. What happens? It happened in the last song where at the end they just gave it a happy ending.
Just finished.
Perhaps somebody told them in the record label that
Getting
enough is
too
enough.
much.
Enough is enough. Just stop it. Stop this right now. End it right now. And here too, they started brilliantly with, I like that second verse.
Absolutely.
Or the first verse, I don't know.
It is one of those lines I have ever liked in a song, but then they don't cut
And it just fell apart. Well, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Because I've got no reason to lie here.
But then there was nothing before
Forget your
that.
problems that don't even exist, and I'll show you a way to get high. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh
That
yeah.
makes sense.
It just went, wayward. It's like they went high and then they just forgot what they started with. And they said, let's just put it out. We are on a deadline. Let's just put it out there and go on tour once again and make those millions and millions of pounds from our fans.
There is also another reason behind it. What happens is not everyone has eye for detail in the world. Very few percent of people actually see things for the nuances, actually put things together, actually, try and get something out of something. It won't be an overstatement if I said most of the fans of rock music didn't really have that kind of eye for detail when it came to the lyrics so much. So the bands could get away by doing that as long as the music was okay and everything. The whole package just seemed right. Then it feels right.
As long as they had some anthems, some big hits now and then, people were happy.
So unfortunately,
fans don't expect much.
Yeah.
At least in those times.
And also
Those
fans
times
didn't
fans
have
didn't expect
lyrics
much.
written down on the screen like us we are doing in 2025. Ever since the internet
there was
came,
no real
lyrics actually
personal computer,
there was
laptop
no
and
written
smartphone,
something.
and that you could just go onto the internet. You would have to wait for the album to come out to even get the whole of these lyrics.
Yeah. So people, what they heard, they hardly could. I mean, sometimes they wouldn't even understand what they heard. Few lines here and there that were the hooks or something like that, and they remembered it. The whole thing would not be available to all of the people, so it didn't matter. And that time, for rock bands to take it easy was also.
And also, you have to keep in mind that we are reactors with now 8 years of experience, hardcore experience in dissecting,
so nothing goes by,
analyzing lyrics.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and we, of course, we still get it wrong.
Yeah.
Off and on. But not often. But we do get it wrong. But that experience that we have, I don't think anyone else on earth has it. This kind of hardcore experience in lyrics analysis, dissecting it, analyzing it, and especially since of our psychological background, graduate as well as postgraduate level background of ours, definitely helps us a lot more than it perhaps will help the average reactor. And I am sure that is the reason also we don't do well on this platform as well as we should have, because we are intellectuals to begin with, and then there are not too many out there who can be on the same wavelength as us. So when we dissect lyrics, when we analyze lyrics, it definitely rubs people, some or lots of people, the wrong way, and many of them don't even understand us, so they don't really connect with us, and so we don't do well. But definitely, I think, yes, Black Sabbath again got it right, that they started in the right direction. I don't know, who knows what was actually going on in their minds at that time. If we have a documentary about this album, how they created it, perhaps the answers will be there. What happened with these last 2 songs? Why did it suddenly change? Context, tempo, lyrics, everything. We would have an answer, but we don't. We right now, listening to it for the first time in the cafe Enoma studio, we don't. So we are just analyzing it based on our hardcore experience of lyrics analysis, of English music mainly, as well as our psychological background at not just the graduate level but postgraduate level for both of us.
Also, something that disappointed, this is the only song where I found a few disappointments. Thrill of It All was supposed to be the title, that never actually came in the song, and I didn't really see the thrill anywhere. So the thrill was not to be felt through the entire song. Musically and lyrically, it was kind of a hodgepodge, or things just put together. Maybe there were things that didn't come together, and that's what it sounded like. Nothing came actually together. There were some brilliant things, but it lacked cohesion overall.
It lacked cohesiveness, and then it became not so brilliant by the end of it all.
That's it.
Great song, great song. After those two songs, which
Lyrically loaded, this was a good breather.
yeah, good breather, good breather. Musically, vocally, with this choir coming in
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that. It had this, it became kind of epic. It would be great for a soundtrack of a war movie, war drama, period drama. It would fit in beautifully in one of these three kinds of movies that I just mentioned. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song for a soundtrack of a movie. Period drama, war drama, etc. would fit in beautifully, especially the story of the before World War II, any of those years. This kind of song would fit in beautifully for the soundtrack of the movie, or even played during the movie itself. Beautiful, beautiful. Well done, well done.
I like this idea of having certain songs lyrically very striking, hard hitting. Listener has to also work a lot more for those songs, but then there are these songs or these music numbers, tracks that just makes you sit, relax, and listen to it. It doesn't demand anything.
It's like
from
one
you.
of those songs in the possibly 70s and 80s when this was common perhaps in the neighborhood, where big Black Sabbath fans would blast their stereo. So they would be listening to the earlier songs and the neighbor would decide by the fourth song, now it's enough, I'm going to complain.
I know.
So they walk up to their door, huffing and puffing, walking up to their
And
door.
then the track has
And then this track has suddenly changed to a very mellow choir singing as if they're praying.
Almost, yeah, the church.
And this guy,
Going to the church.
yeah, so you look so guilty and embarrassed
How
that you're
dare you.
going there to, you're banging on their door, and then this is the song that you hear when the door opens, coming through the stereo loudly into your ears. The choir singing. So it's like, oh, what am I doing now? And you have to literally go back in embarrassment with your head down. So this is like one of those songs. Let us teach our neighbors a lesson. Those neighbors who keep coming up to complain. When we see them walking out of their door, coming
Change
up
the
to our
track.
door, put on this song. Switch to
Something like
this
that.
song.
Yeah.
Of course, in those days, it wouldn't be that easy to switch tracks. As easy as it is today. So yeah.
It's unpredictable. I like that unpredictability. I like the second track when it just plays Spanish guitar. And now, who knew there was a choir going to be featuring in the album, and they would just sing like this. I was wondering who was singing, but it felt like it wasn't the band. It was most probably a choir that was doing that vocal sound, and it sounded good. It sounded good. It was refreshing listening to an album in one sitting, and when it becomes little heavy duty, I think you do need, even as reactors and listeners, we also being as human as we can, we also need that breather. And kudos to Black Sabbath, they knew how they were arranging things, because this was much needed, and right on time when it came. So it's definitely appreciation for them for doing that.